Hello, Marmalada here. Some people has been asking about future of force selection and what's going to be next and where is the next patch and what is the next country and blah blah blah. Yeah, I don't know the answers for that, but I I prepared some suggestions for Wouw for balance changes that may or may not happen quite soon. So just keep in mind, those what you can see is just the suggestions. It doesn't mean that this will end up in the game. This is just what I would like to add, and this was submitted to Wouw, and he is currently like thinking about it, and we, I assume, will have some kind of discussion or not. I don't know, but basically I approached developers some time ago, maybe 2 months ago, and I asked them if they would be okay if I did something like this, and basically if I can help with the balance, and he said yes. It's not like definitive that everything that I suggest will end up in the game, but those are the suggestions, and maybe they will get into the game. So if you are interested in what's in the list and what is the reasoning for that, we can go through the list together. So basically for Stone Age, I'm almost happy with the Stone Age. It's the most balanced as it is now that it has ever been. So there is no like toxic strategies like bulwark spam slash bulwark rush. I mean, you can still do it, but it's very easy to defend such strategies. So it's very risky right now, actually, to go with, I don't know, 8 workers and spam bulwarks around the enemy base, simply because he can just pull 20 workers and destroy all of them. So it's basically, this strategy basically doesn't exist anymore. And for the proxies, proxy is still better than non-proxy, but on the top level of ladder, actually it's not so difficult to play against proxies right nowadays. If you have like a good map with a lot of resources, you can break proxies. It's like 50-50 right now, which I like. So basically no changes to Stone Age, because finally the Stone Age units are all kind of balanced, and also strategy-wise, it's a good balance for non-proxies, and even Asia against Europe. I mean, Europe is still slightly behind, and that's why I want to add 50 food to each berry bush, sorry, just to help Europe to transition into Bronze Age on maps where you don't have any extra food. Yeah, so that's for the Stone Age. For the Bronze Age slash Iron Age for Europe, well, there is a like elephant in the room, which is swordsman. Because swordsmen, they can be very good, and also they can be very bad. And it all depends on the skill level of the players in each match. And I want to maintain the damage and what swordsmen can do. So I don't want to nerf them like damage wise, but the problem is that there is no counter for swordsman other than swordsman also. Swordsman will counter swordsman most of the time, and heavy archers from Asia. And even heavy archers, if you are out of position for like 20 seconds, you will lose. So it's very difficult for people to play against swordsman. Especially proxy swordsman, that's even worse. I mean, it's even better for the swordsman. And yeah, so basically what I'm suggesting is to nerf the armor of swordsman, so other units than swordsman and heavy archers can also like deal with them somehow. because all the heavy spears, they even Europe archers, they have a lot of problems to deal with swordsmen, simply because they deal almost no damage to swordsmen, or swordsmen are very fast for archers and they dodge a lot of arrows. So yeah, my suggestion is to lower the armor so they they take more damage basically, because they move very fast, they deal a lot of damage even to buildings, and yeah, they are somehow untouchable, and I don't like it. So I want to maintain the damage, but the armor needs to go down. For heavy spearmen, I think they were over nerfed last patch, or the patch before, and nobody is using them at the moment simply because they cost so much wood. They cost 70 wood, which basically stops you from going to medieval. And their armor used to be too high, and then it was nerfed, and now it's too low, I think. So I want to, yeah, I want heavy spearmen to be in a better position. So I'm suggesting to lower the wood cost from 70 to 40 and slightly increase armor. For Bronze Age Asia and Iron Age, nobody is using horses from Asia, and I'm quite I know that nobody will be using them even with those changes. But maybe, I don't know, maybe. Like the horseman, the melee one might be useful in some situations. But I just wanted to buff them because nobody's using them. They are too weak and they are better units. So yeah, then some kind of buff needs to happen. This won't make them good, but it will definitely make them better. And we have to test it, and maybe in the next patch they would need another buff or some indirect buff. We'll see. But what I want to change is the basically all the upgrades for units in Iron Age and Bronze Age. They are right now 2 minutes. It takes 2 minutes to upgrade your archers and armor and everything basically. So every upgrade from Europe takes only 60 seconds. So there is a big difference, and I would like for Asia to have these upgrades also in 60 seconds basically. Not for heavy archers, it would be too good, but 90 seconds should be okay. Because heavy archer is the best unit hands down for Iron Age and also maybe medieval. And I don't want to make them weak as Europe archers, because there is no point to make two different units very similar. So I suggested to increase the cost of food and also wood. So you cannot really spam them so much. And this will push you also to use the classic normal archers a little bit more. So yeah, there are big changes. Okay, I will not jump to West Asia yet. So also rocket cannon, I want to little bit nerf them. I think they are too good in fights. So I want to nerf them the reload time by 1 second. Horse archers. Nobody's using horse archers because they are terrible. Basically, you have them. You can run around enemy base. They can shoot while running, while moving, of course, but they will never hit anything. And most of the time they will just attack buildings. It doesn't make any sense. So I want to improve the spread quite a bit. So at least if you are running close to workers, there is a chance for them to kill some. Because right now they cannot kill any workers. And after a few seconds, workers anyway will hide in tower, and yeah, basically horse archers are useless. So, and they cost a lot. They cost a lot of food. So I want just to make them better. Big changes. I would like big changes to come for West Asia, because I think this country has been, or this nation has been overlooked for quite a lot of time. And they have a lot of unique units, mostly elephants, which nobody uses, simply because they are too costly. And also, like, from the mechanic perspective, you create a unit, you train a unit, you spend resources and population, and the unit is useless. And now you have to wait, I don't know what is it in live game, is it like 40 seconds? You have to wait 40 seconds, or 30 or 40 seconds, to upgrade it into useful unit. So it's now archer elephant or ram. And then if you want archer elephant to be actually useful, you need to upgrade it again into armored version. And now we wait another like 20-30 seconds, and the unit cannot attack during this time, it has to stay, it's idle. So it's not very viable in situations where we are constantly fighting, which is most of the time in 1v1, let's be honest. So that's why nobody used elephants ever in 1v1. Because of this, because it takes way too long to upgrade them into the useful version, and then you lose them in next fight, and then you have to do it again. So it's very like clunky. It's not a good mechanic for any of the strategies, basically. And so I also want to increase armor for elephant rammer because they are dying too quickly. Increase accuracy for oglans, battle elephants to produce much faster. And all the upgrades, like the upgrades now take, for example, for improved harnesses, 140 seconds. It's like you don't even spend so much time in medieval. Like it needs to be better. And I want elephants to be useful, because it's a very cool unit, and we don't want just to have archer meta. Yeah. And I also want cargo elephant to be better. I want cargo elephant to be better than warehouse, actually. Because if it's not better, there is no point to have it. Like I know it can move, but it's also small. So that means worker needs to walk more. The radius is smaller than the normal warehouse. So I don't know, it needs to be better than warehouse. And I think 5% efficiency is a good number for that. Otherwise nobody will use it and you can just delete it. Also it takes population, and warehouse don't. Or warehouse doesn't take population. And also because West Asia eco is very weak at the moment, and also this food decay didn't help, or meat decay. So I want to increase number of goats that you get for barnyard, 6 to 7. Yeah, so it's like what, 15% buff, which is, I would say, quite nice. Yeah. So that's for the West Asia. Basically buff to elephants and make them useful a little bit more. Like they are not bad as with their stats, but the fact that they need to stand for a lot of time and you have to upgrade them, that makes them useless. So yeah, I want to reduce the time it takes for them to upgrade, or even for battle elephant to produce. Yeah. So medieval Europe. There are some units that are never used. Mostly it's Pernach and Mogelstern. So I was thinking about this a lot. And those units, they have high damage and I would say below average armor, and they are very slow. And every time when you have slow unit with low armor, the unit will do nothing. It will just die to archers before it can deal any damage. So you can have slow unit with high armor, or you can have fast unit with slow armor. Oh, sorry, low armor. Yeah, imagine swordsman with 30 movement speed. It would be useless, totally useless. So what I want for these two units, which are basically the same unit, I want them to be much faster. I think the move speed right now it's like 43, if I'm not. I hope I'm correct. So it would be 58, which is basically the swordsman speed. And then you can use them like swordsman, basically. So swordsman would upgrade into heavy armor Landsknecht, for example, but you can keep the unit like swordsman and keep using them in medieval, because swordsman you cannot use them once you want to go to late medieval. You need to upgrade your barracks and then you lose ability to train swordsman. But those units could be like a successor of swordsman, basically. You couldn't upgrade swordsman into Morgenstern, for example, but you can like keep this kind of strategy of high damage dealing unit with high movement speed. So that's the reason. It has not been tested. I don't know if maybe they will be OP. I have no idea. But even if they are OP, it would be very refreshing. And maybe a little bit about the philosophy of the balance changes. The goal is not to have everything perfectly balanced. The goal is to refresh meta every 3 months. So the game is not repetitive. There is like a fresh air going into the meta, and people get excited about new strategies and new units to train or use, and that's the point. That's why even RTS games that are on the market for 15 years, they are still releasing balance changes. And it's not because they couldn't balance the game in 15 years, it's because they want to refresh meta and refresh the feel that players get from the game. So, and the goal is here also not to be everything perfectly balanced, but to get to the different kind of meta. Because we had this East Asia meta for basically 2 years, and it's very, very repetitive, and we need to... yeah, we need something fresh. Anyway, medieval West Europe. Big changes. It's quite similar to situation for West Asia. There are some upgrades that takes too much time, and I would say most of the time it's not even worth it to go for the upgraded version of fort or barracks or shooting range or whatever. And basically you are going from Iron Age units, let's say swordsman and archer, you are going to weaker version if you upgrade to medieval units or medieval production buildings, because longbow, it's a good unit, but it takes so much time to produce it, and it's quite costly. And you would need like 15 shooting ranges to have the same production speed as Asia with 7 shooting ranges, maybe 6. Yeah, and if you want to upgrade to better version of barracks shooting ranges, to the royal version, it takes so much time. Like it takes 1 minute, or how I don't even remember, but it takes so much time. So basically I'm suggesting to change it to half. Maybe it's 40 seconds right now, and I want to make it 20. But I don't want players... You cannot in very... let me put it this way. In 1v1 and also in team games, when you go to medieval, there is like this big spike of of army size, that you go from 30 units to, let's say, 70 units of army that you can have. And it takes forever for West Europe to get to 160 population with like 70, 80 population army. Forever. Like you will get to late medieval or maybe IR before you can like produce units if you have like normal number of production buildings. And if you lose that army, it takes like 5 minutes to replace it. It's absolutely nuts. That's why West Europe is the weakest nation. Because you attack it, you trade units, and then you attack it again, and there are no units left for West Europe, and it takes so much time to replace it, and it's very costly. And then basically with the second wave of attack, you win if you are playing Asia, for example, or even East Europe against West Europe. So I want to make these upgraded versions of production buildings better. Not only to make the upgrade faster, so it will take only, I don't know, 20 seconds, 10 seconds, what it is, I don't remember, to get the upgraded version. But also I want longbows to produce much faster from royal shooting range, because even with the royal shooting range, it still takes 30 seconds. If you compare it to East Europe, it's like what, 17, 18, 19 seconds for archer. So it's basically half of that, or close to half. So it just cannot stay like this. It needs to be worth it to upgrade it. That's the first. And the second, if you upgrade it, you need to feel like it's better. So that's why longbows, yeah, with royal shooting range, only 25 seconds for longbow. Funny enough, when you like get to late medieval, and you have these gunpowder units, the musketeer takes, I believe, 19 seconds, maybe 15 seconds to train from royal shooting range. It's 15 seconds for musketeer and 30 seconds for longbow, which is much worse. It doesn't make any sense. Yeah, so hopefully those changes for West Europe will go through, and it will make West Europe much better. Because now, if you play West Europe, you just need to sit in your base and hope and pray that nobody will attack you, so you don't have to trade army for army. Because if you do, you will lose. Like, you cannot win the game by trading units. You need to like stay and pray and hope for quick industrial. Last change, metal tools. I would bet that nobody knows what this upgrade does because nobody is using it. Basically, it's upgrade from Iron Age, where if you take this upgrade, you will build buildings faster, but it applies only to Iron Age. So nobody is using it. And I want this to also apply to medieval workers. So if you take it in Iron Age and you upgrade your workers to medieval version and you build medieval buildings, they will build them, what is it, like 20% faster. Cost would still be the same, just the building speed would be faster. Now, this was for pre-IR. Now the fun stuff begins, okay? If you didn't like this, that's fine, because now this should be fun. Now, guys, what's the philosophy for IR? We have a lot of these IR special units that are that you can do only if you are playing the country, like country-specific units. And philosophy is to make these country-specific units good. So it feels good to use them, it feels good to play the country, the mechanics on the country and the units of the country. Unfortunately, during the past few years, some of the special country specific units were over-nerfed or they were never good. And IR balance was somehow overlooked for a long time. So I'm suggesting a lot of changes to each country, and there are no nerfs. It's just improvements to units that are never used, units that are underperforming, and it should be much more fun to play each country if those changes go through. We will start with Japan. So Japan is okay on maps where you have a lot of water, a lot of like sea maps, ocean maps, but they suck on maps where you have no water. And their special unit, light trench mortar, it's terrible, and it's terrible because all trench mortar units are terrible. They have very low damage. The spread is awful, so they never hit. They are very slow. The radius, the AoE of the damage is very slow or very low, and basically every artillery, like the cannon, is always better than trench mortar. Because cannon has better armor, better range, better accuracy, everything better. So it makes absolutely no sense to use trench mortar units. And yeah, so we want to change it. Basically buff to every stat. That's very simple. And a huge buff, like damage increase from 80 to 130. Spread from 28 to 20. Double the area radius. It's a trench mortar, it's a big projectile, big explosive going through air, and you should feel like the AoE needs to be much better, much better, so it's double. Speed slightly better, reduce the cost for materials, for the wood or stone, and increase move speed. Yeah, so this should make them good, or maybe at least useful. Of course they will still have counters as they do now, like balloons or horses or I don't know, armored cars, of course, but they will be somehow useful now in combat, I hope. Similar buff to elephant trench mortar. Also special unit from India, totally useless. Totally useless. Like the damage is too low. Like if you have 80 damage and they never hit, they have spread 30%. 30. So it does no damage. Like you can have one trench mortar elephant trying to hit one tower, and it will take like 5 minutes. I'm not kidding, 5 minutes to destroy the tower. It's absolutely nuts. Like this needs to change. So very similar changes. It's not one-to-one to light trench mortar, but it's also like damage, spread, area, and projectile speed. Some other buffs to India. Sorting supplies. That's the buff for. That's the buff. Where is it? For the cargo elephant, I believe. So basically, if you are using cargo elephants, you don't want to wait 200 seconds to get IR efficiency of IR warehouse. Because if you don't play India, if you play normal warehouse, you get it like in 20 seconds or whatever time it takes to upgrade medieval to IR warehouse, right? And there is no reason why you should be waiting 200 seconds if you play India. It's very punishing. So big improvements from 200 to 90 seconds. I would even make it like 60 seconds if I could, but we cannot get so crazy. Fury of Durga. Production time reduced from 150 seconds to 100. I'm not a big fan of production times that are too long. It makes the game very slow, and you are waiting 2.5 minutes to get one unit, and then the unit is useless and you need to wait another I don't know, like 40 seconds or maybe more for tigers to get into queue, like in the you know what I mean. So yeah, big buff to Fury of Durga. We are moving to Germany. Well, Germany used to be maybe best country in the game for some time, and then it was nerfed to the ground, totally nerfed, like totally useless from after several patches, simply because Big Bertha, it used to be very good, and now it's maybe worse than Howitzer, because the spread is too high, it's very slow. I believe it used to have like 35 move speed, and then it was nerfed to 20. It's like, even if it's good like damage wise and trench wise, enemy army can just go around and you will never catch them because Berthas are way too slow. So suggesting buffs to spread, area damage, and the move speed to make it slightly better. Okay, I don't want to make it OP, but to make it better. So if you play Berthas, you cannot like miss every hit. If you miss like the first volley of hits and the tanks or armored cars or whatever is coming to you, then you lose all of them. So yeah, just buffs to Germany, to Bertha. Also buff to non-upgraded flamethrowers from Germany, because they have average armor 3. That means they kill each other with friendly fire, and they also die to archers. So they are super weak. They are super weak in IR1, and they are useful only if you get the armored version. And I don't like this. I want them to be useful also in IR1. Not OP, still be dying to any damage, not only to cannons, but to light machine gun units and towers and archers, but they cannot be instantly dying. So from 3 armor to 9 armor on average. Okay, China. I want big buffs for China. China is weakest country maybe in the game for a long time. Again, it used to be good, but then it was over nerfed because people were complaining, and then a lot of countries were added to the game, countries that counter China directly. And now it's very difficult to play China because almost every country has some kind of machine gunner unit and armored unit, and basically China has to get to IR2 with second population upgrade in IR, and with the fully upgraded foreign supply center, foreign supply center to make it good. So big buffs. I want to add speed up ability, that the buff that warrior has from Fight Pit, it's called Rush, to militia from China. I think it would make him fun to play if this horde of militiamen is just running to you, and it would definitely make them more fun and more useful. Because now, let's be honest, they just die. They die before they can hit. If you have 10 machine gun units, they basically kill every militia that is coming to them. So that's the first buff. Now also increase damage from 18 to 20. I think their damage is way too low. Increase building damage from 13 to 15. They have really problems to destroy towers and buildings. Even if you overwhelm your enemy, it takes way too much time to destroy anything. So yeah, that's for the militiamen. Houses. Reduced reserve time for militiamen from 75 to 60. Again, to make it more fun, more useful. You can get more of them faster. Foreign supply I have so much problems to reading this. Foreign supply center. Sorry guys. Reduce upgrade time or unlock time for each country to 75 seconds, because now it's 120 for IR1 and 180 for IR2, and you cannot produce units during this time. So even if you unlocked one country already and you want to unlock second country, you basically lock production for 2 minutes, which is not viable for IR. You need to be producing units. You cannot just ask your enemies to wait 2 minutes for you to get the upgrade. So big buff to this. Also Mountain Guardsmen, I think they cost way too much iron, so I want to reduce the cost by half. So now it would cost only 10. France, basically buff to 2 tanks from France, because I think they are not very good. Like 65 damage for a tank, it's laughable. So buff from 65 to 80 to match basically all the light tanks. Some light tanks may have 90, but some have 80, so yeah, buff, damage buff. And also buff to the heavy tank, so it's like heavy tank, because other heavy tanks has they have 40 move speed, I believe, and the 170 production time way too long. So yeah, better move speed and increase the damage from the turret from 70 to 90. Turkey. Light cannon to be like a light cannon, okay? It should move faster because it's light. So we are increasing the move speed from 40 to 50. And buff to mortar. Again, I'm buffing all the mortar units, including the mortar from Turkey, because nobody's using it. So big damage buff and buff big damage to radius. Like radius 6 for unit which has big spread and long range, it will never hit your target. So radius needs to be much bigger. Alright, coming to iron. Iran, I don't know how you read it. We call it Iran in Czech, but yeah, I don't know what's your preference. Immortals. I want immortals to not take population. They should not cost population. They should work like tigers from India. That's my opinion. It's not fun when you can produce them. You run into enemy base, you want to take them out, you want to use them, but you are population blocked, and now you are thinking, okay, what units I have to kill, of what my units I have to kill in order to produce those immortals. So it's no fun to have them, yeah, for immortals to have population cost. So I want that to be removed. Also, I want to buff the Div Destroyer. It's very hard to balance this unit because I think it will be useless anyway, but maybe in some situations where it can actually do something, it should do something, because 120 damage is very low, and also 50 armor for this kind of unit is also very low. So yeah, buffing damage and armor. And finally, for abstract, Squadron Cannon, it's much worse than Howitzer at the moment. So it doesn't make any sense to use it because Howitzers are simply better. And the reason why Howitzers are better is that Squadron Cannon takes 8 population and Howitzer is what, 4? It's half, so you can have double the number of Howitzers compared to Squadron Cannons, and that's what makes Howitzers better, and also slightly improving the spread. And again, trench mortar unit, quite big buffs to abstract trench mortar units. Okay, that's all for the list. Just few words for the end, like a conclusion or whatever you call it. This is again what I am suggesting to developers. This is not what developers will put into the game. It can be the same, it can be different, it can be less, I don't know. This is just my suggestions, which Wouw agreed to take into consideration. That's the first. Second, um, this is like at least in my eyes, like a first wave of balance change for IR, mostly for the IR. There are other units that are not used often, that are underperforming, and those units should be also improved, but I didn't include them in this first round of balance changes. I'm talking mostly about boats, ships, and planes, and some other units, but I didn't touch air units and sea units on purpose, because I just wanted to do the first round quickly, send it to Wouw quickly, so we are not waiting long for a balance patch. But yes, I know some planes, some boats, ships needs to be looked at, needs some improvements. So maybe in the second round, if Wouw agrees to that, we will see. Okay guys, so that's all for the changes. I want to ask you something. I think it would be better, or basically I want to ask you, if you like those changes, please say it in the comments, and if you don't like it, also say it, and tell me why. Okay, I want the feedback from you. If you like it or if you don't like it, maybe what would you do differently. But please, if you like it, be very like straightforward, because that's the feedback also for Wouw. So if you like it, and it might help me to convince him to put it into the game. And if you don't like it, please also tell me what you don't like. Maybe we can still change it. Everything is quite open right now. Okay, that's all for the video. Thank you for watching. Bye.